Postecoglu said the only way to shrug off the Spursy tag was to make sure things go well. Well, I think we can say that things have gone pretty well today. A London derby win over a key rival and the perfect antidote to the blunder at Brighton. It takes Spurs briefly into the top six as West Ham suffer their fourth Premier League defeat of the season. It's not all perfect for Tottenham, but it's certainly much better this afternoon. It's finished. Tottenham Hotspur 4, West Ham United 1.
This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast with the Millwall and Gillingham legend that is Tony Cascarino and me, Natalie Sawyer. And yes, it was a bad day at the office for West Ham again, as a second half capitulation saw them get thrashed at their local rivals Spurs 4-1. Mohamed Kudus had put the visitors 1-0 up before goals from Dejan Kulusevski, Yves Bissouma, an own goal, and Son Heung-min gave Spurs a much-needed win for Ange Postecoglu's side. The result pushes West Ham 5 points, or leaves West Ham, I should say, 5 points off... is that right? That's not right. Yeah, that isn't right at all. They are 7 points off the relegation zone. And Julian Lopetegui is not happy. Oh, yeah, it's 5. Do you know what it is? I'm looking at this table here, and the line is for some reason in a weird position.
They've not gone above Ipswich, which are in the bottom 3.
My automatic reaction is to look at where the line is. But you're absolutely right. It is 3. Or 5. Sorry. Oh, goodness me. Maths is not my strong point.
No, the line's in the wrong place.
It's 4 points. Anyway, let's just move it on. Maths is not great. Anyhow, let's get back onto actually what happened. You were at this game, Cass, so sum it up for those that might not have seen it.
Fantastic food. What a great food at Spurs. What an amazing stadium.
It's your first bit. It was your first time
first
there,
time I've been to
yes,
Tottenham Stadium, but it is amazing. It is a wonderful atmosphere before kick-off, just a noise, and it was a great atmosphere. The game was so close for up until 45 minutes. Postecoglu made a big call. James Maddison coming off.
Yes.
I think his first team place is under threat, serious threat, because Sarr and Bazuma give you way more energy in midfield for Spurs. Way more energy. That allows Kulusevski to get forward, who was, by the way, outstanding in the game. If not the best player, but one of the best players on the pitch. And it freed them up second half. West Ham have got no legs in their midfield. No legs at all. Whether it's Souček, whether it's, look at Alvarez, you're looking at their team, you just no legs in there. Paquetá can't get round the pitch as like he should do, and it changed the whole dynamics of the game, and that is a big thing. Tottenham, this stage last year, after 8 games, were top of the league. They're 7 points off that, because they had 20 points last year after 8 games. This year they're on 13, and there's something quite... Because I actually came away thinking, look, West Ham were terrible. The second half performance... I mean, I know you'll talk about Brentford's second half performance at Man United a bit later, but whatever. West Ham were all over the shop. I mean, Kudus gets sent off. He was one of their best players. He caused Tottenham a good number of issues in the game. But there were some good things. I thought Solanke was absolutely top-notch yesterday. Led the line brilliantly for Spurs. Brought players into the game for the goals that were scored. He just led the line fantastically well. But I did think, Porro, the standout feature of Porro is after Trent, and I say after because he ain't far behind, is technically he's unreal. Skill levels, he's got everything, but there is a risk element, and like for West Ham's goal what was conceded, it came from the big diagonal ball to Kudus. He gets caught and it ends up going in the box, and Kudus finishes it off. But there was lots of things in the game that I thought Tottenham, because I'd seen them live at the end of in the start of May last year, the end of last season. I watched them live at Chelsea, and 4 days later I watched them live at Liverpool, and they were all over the place. Tottenham was so easy to play against. Yesterday, West Ham were poor in the second half, but they looked like they were a bit more rigid and a lot more solid than they have been. Tottenham have got no problem now in scoring goals. There's not an issue at all with Tottenham getting goals. It's how dogged they can be and how hard to beat will define whether they can make the Champions League this year. Because if they can do that, defend to a different level, they've got a chance of making Champions League. Without that, they can't.
Yeah, they're the top scorers currently, albeit with obviously Liverpool, City, Chelsea still to play. Is this inconsistency going to be their biggest problem?
Well, Look, the one-off game, I'll say one-off, but the game at Brighton where they turned it around, yesterday was a real test of mental steel, because they went behind in the game. In a London derby, they've gone behind. Second half, I thought Postecoglu got it right tactically. He changed it around, and Maddison won't like it. I'm sure we're going to find out in the days to come that he wouldn't have been happy with his substitute. His corners were really poor yesterday, and also they just weren't as fluid. And it felt like he was getting in the way, because obviously there's Kulusevski trying to get on the ball, and there's, it felt like that space needed to be freed up where he was playing. They're a decent side, Tottenham. They're going to upset a few along the way, like they did at Man United, 1-3-0. They're very capable. I think it's all about their season's going to be is they get exploited by their fullbacks of how aggressive they play. Because Ndogi and Porro are good fullbacks offensively, but a little bit less convincing going the other way.
And likewise with West Ham, we're yet to be convinced by Lopetegui as their new manager after they decided to part ways with David Moyes.
Oh, it's a bonkers. I mean, on the sidelines, it was funny because we're not too far, because Lopetegui's trying to get 3 subs on, and there's goals being scored as he's trying to get the subs on.
This is it.
There was loads of things going on.
Yeah, there were 3 goals scored in 8 minutes, something like that in the second half. I just wanted to quickly ask you about West Ham, though, in the sense of they are still struggling to sort of find their feet under Lopetegui. Is that because it is still that they're trying to understand what a new manager wants, or actually they're just not good enough?
Well, if I was a West Ham fan and I'm watching that team, I'm thinking, we're going to get exposed, because this happened against Chelsea, by the way, as well. Their midfield was just ripped apart. And I think that's going to be their Achilles heel. I think West Ham are going to suffer, because if they don't get that area better in the pitch and have legs to make challenges and stop the opposition, West Ham are going to get blown away a good few times this season. Okay. They are. They're definitely going to concede goals from, players just leaving the midfield position on the opposition and getting in their box. But they just look so vulnerable there.
Yeah, okay. So it is a result then that leaves Spurs 7th in the table. They're on 13 points. As for West Ham, they're 15th. Okay, let's just confirm it all, shall we? Because our table... Let me see what it says. Right, yes, okay. They are 4 points clear of the relegation zone, according to the table I'm currently looking at. No, he's shaking his head. No, okay, I'm told it's 5. Oh, it's
5. It's 5. It's 5, but Crystal Palace and Wolves have got a game in hand.
But Ipswich have 4 points.
Yeah.
Oh, for goodness sake. This table is...
Palace have 3, Ipswich have 1.
Palace aren't on this table.
I told you, Palace are on 3. But with a game in hand and Wolves.
I do apologise to Palace fans. You do exist, but according to our table, you don't. You're not on there. Anyhow, right, we're going to quickly move on because that's just been a disaster.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.